Hello, my name is Peter Phelps of Phelps 3D, and in this FreeCAD 0.16 tutorial, I'm going to do some different little projects that use the rotational aspect. A couple little cups, a funnel, a deflector for like inside your flashlight, and then it's like a strainer for your bathtub, and I'm going to base all of these off the rotational aspect. Now, so let's go ahead and get on into it. I'm in FreeCAD, part design, new documents. Well, the first one we're going to do is the little bathroom type cup. We're going to really be making more of a shot glass because I'm not going to make you know how the bathroom cups have that ridge at the bottom? Well, I'm going to make that flat. And I may have to, I'll probably thicken up the walls too, so, because this is probably too thin to 3D print. Okay, so I made that on the XZ plane, and well, start off measuring the bottom. It's 40 millimeters approximately. So we're going to want to divide that in half and go with 20. But right now, I'm just going to draw sketch, not draw. But, hit escape. So here, make sure that those connected. I'm going to take this one, control this one, make that the same point. That vertical constraint. Anchor this one to this. And then set this one to 20. Oh, almost was there. I'm going to set this to 2. Okay, I must have had something more than 1. Then we got to figure out how tall it is. It says it's about 58. So from here to this one, I'm going to set that to 58 millimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create some parallel constraints between those and those. Even though I made this like this, I'm thinking maybe I'll just delete that. Click on them. Delete them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 3-point endpoints and ring point circular object. You did see them turn yellow before I did that, right? I don't know why sometimes. Okay. And we can close that. That's all you really need. Do a revolve. Say okay. If you wanted to, you could have, let's go back, make the revolution disappear. I'll go back into sketch, and we could have rounded the outside bottom part here. I think that was a little too big. Whoops. Okay, maybe if we change the radius here. How about just 2? Yeah, that's better. Close that, and then you can see that it updated the cut bottom. Gave it a bit of a fillet on it. You could fillet the inside too if you want. I'm going to leave it flat. But that makes your little shot cut glass. So let's call it shot glass. Now a thing to note about doing this type of thing for 3D printing is you might want to change a few things if you're going to try to do this to actually drink out of. Basically, I would suggest changing your nozzle from a brass one to one of the stainless steel types, and then I would probably use PET-G for the material rather than the regular PLA and ABS. That's mostly because PET-G is the same sort of stuff that they make a lot of the clear plastic bottles, etc. out of. It's probably not going to be leaching anything into what you're drinking, hopefully. And export it as an STL. Okay, that's pretty much the gist of that one. Okay, the next project we're going to take on is the larger tumbler-sized cup. And I'm going to still stay in part design because I want to first draw a sketch that we'll use as a guideline. So create a sketch, XZ plane again, and actually go this one. Oops. Oh, just drop the cup. Make sure that those two are together. Make that glare. Alright, and if I measure the bottom, about 60, so I'm going to go 30. And then and the top is about 84, so we'll go 42. 42 millimeters. Ooh. Come on. And we'll close that. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I need the height. It's 146. Okay, now it's a fully constrained sketch, but I don't want it to look just like that. And this, like I said, is going to be a guideline for me because I don't see in draft where I can set a specific, I can set the lines exactly where I want. So the main thing I want to do here in draft is create a B-spline, and I'm going to try to click here and go in a little, I think, and then I'm going to, okay, I'll have to play with this, but I want this one here. I hit escape. I'm going to edit it. You can see where it will bring up the points that I made. I probably should have added another point. Or I went the wrong way. Wait a minute. Let's see. Add another point. Okay. Okay, that's closer to what I wanted. Playing with B-splines, you could probably tweak the design a bit more, but I'm gonna leave it with that because that's about as close I think I'm gonna get without it going wiki wacky. And then I'm gonna take the B-spline and I'm going to convert it to a sketch. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe it's those. What does it just say? I got an error message. Not supported by this tool. Oh, that's a fine how do you do. Okay, that sucks. Okay, so how do I... Now, in that case, what do? I try to do it with draft. Okay, I'm gonna make the sketch disappear so I can just see the draft. Needs to be turned into a compound. Make a compound. And then try to use the rotational on it. Okay. So if one way won't work, you gotta figure out a different way to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that revolve. I'm gonna go back into draft. I'm gonna clone the revolve. I'm gonna take the clone of it, and I'm gonna scale that about 90 in the X and Y. Oh, whoops, 0.9. 0.9. Okay, I want to check to see how thick that ends up making the wall. Five? That may be a little too much. Remember, this is percentages, so it's not a precise unless you do the calculation. Well, for me right now, I'm going to say that's okay. You might want to run a calculation and just make it 3, but for right now I'm just going to say that's good. That should give you a good thick wall. And we're going to move that up. Two. That way the bottom is 2 millimeters thick. And if you want to make sure, you can go in and take a good look at how that's positioned. Go into view. Come on. And set the transparency at like 50% usually. Maybe I'll make that go up one more. Okay, so you can take the original wall, click on the clone of the wall, go to part, and cut it. Yeah, go ahead. Oops, well, that didn't work. I don't know why that's not solid, but let's click the wall. Part, convert to solid. Click the clone part. Convert to solid. Hide both the original pieces. Click the wall. Click the clone. Cut. There we go. That's better. I'm going to go back over to drafts and get rid of the grid. It bothers me. Now what I want to do is fillet these edges here a little bit. I'm going to leave it at 1 because we were over 3, so that rounds the edge of it. So if someone's actually trying to drink out of it or something, they wouldn't. And I'm going to round the bottom edge a little too. That makes it a nice rounded bottom. And that's basically our tumbler. So file, save. tumbler. Okay, so our next project is going to be the flashlight deflector. So, part design, create a new sketch, Z plane, zoom in a bit. Now there's two ways we could go about this. We could just design the shape and then come back in and pocket the hole in the middle for the light bulb. But I'm going to try to do this a little simpler. I'm going to go ahead and sketch the shape including the hole. So the hole's diameter was 10.8 millimeters. So we're going to go for about a 5.4 millimeter radius on that. I'm sketching just, this represents the flat part that comes in around the hole. And then I'm going to make another sketch piece up here, and it's going to look opposite that. I don't know why one of my neighbors is revving his engine. Sorry, I'm not sure if you caught that, but that's what's going on. So we want to make this distance here the 5.4. I'm going to drag it down so I can see that. We're going to keep this one. Keep both of this flat. And then I need to figure out what the distance should be. We're at 20.4. So I want to divide that 10.2. So from here to where this one is the 10.2. Now this height, the thickness of this metal is like 0.4. If I'm going to try to 3D print this, I might want to go thicker than that. So I'm thinking 1 millimeter is probably a good thickness. We're going to go thicker than we're going. Of course, if you were, how about 0.8? I'll make it 0.8. And I want that pinned to the, so it doesn't float around. This here will depend on, we could make this a diagonal, let's say 0.8. No, that makes a square. So I don't want a square. So I'm just going to eyeball it for right now. Or maybe, oh, I know. Maybe it should have been this way. 0.8. There, okay. That was square that way. And up here we'll do the same sort of thing. Where do you go? Okay. This will be How tall should this thing be? I'm getting 28 millimeters. So top of this edge and this 28. And then how far? I'm getting 68 millimeters. So 34. This little lip part isn't very big. It's, let's see, 2.4. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the endpoints and rim points to create the lines to connect from that point. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's turned yellow. So I'll have to go in and check to make sure I actually got the points connected right. You want to try to get them as parallel as possible. Hit escape, and then I know I can see already that I didn't get some of those. See how this one's, make sure they're linked. If you can click the whole wire and move, if you can move the line, then yeah, they're not connected. I want to make sure they're connected. Otherwise, this won't work. And here, these didn't connect either. Alright. How does that look? Does that look like it's about? Looks good. Close that. Make sure the sketch is selected. Do a rotation. Say OK. And there we have our lens part. So, file, save, and I'm going to call this flashlight. Take our illusion, file, export. Create a new file. Plane, say OK. Next, let's do the funnel. Yay! And the funnel, in a way, is an opposite deflector, if you think about it. It's still pretty much like that, but I'm going to do it see, if you were going to print that other piece, I would flip it over so the hole is up. Just to tell you that I would have the outer edge on the bottom. So that's how I'm going to design this funnel, is that direction, so that it's already in the right orientation for printing. And so with this one, I need to I'm going to start probably at the top. It doesn't matter which way you start. The inner circle is 94.6. So what I'm going to do is really quickly just zoom out a bit. So, what did I say? 94.6. So, from here, first I'm going to pin that so that it's on the axis. And from here to here, sorry. 47.3. Then how tall is this? 118. So from here to there is 118. And let's see. So it's 106 for the diameter, 53. Here to here is 53. How thick was the ridge? 2.2. So I'm going to give this a 2.2 this way. This one here needs a height constraint. And then how this one here is straight down. We'll set this to 2.2. Set this one to straight down. Then we gotta set the height of that part. Actually, that does not go straight. I may have to remove those. The inside should be straight. So which one is this? Oops, what happened there? Where'd the line go? This one is not straight. This one is. Okay, back to measuring. And that is 39. So from here to here, I'm going to go the 2.2. That says that. The reason I said it's not straight here is it looks more like it comes out. So like that. Now, if I wanted to, or if I had one of those little compass, what do they call it? I can't remember the name. The one that measures the angles. You could set it. You could set this by the angle instead of by the heights. But I'm going to leave it as it is right now. I think that's all I really need. I'm going to close that, rotate it. Wow, that looks really off. What did I do wrong? I'm going to say cancel and go back in. Oh, I didn't ever set where this was to that, right? Yeah, that's what I did wrong. Sorry. 12.4, so 6.2. My bad. Okay. The inner hole. 6.2. So that will look a little better, I think. Close that. Yes, much better. finishing touch, let's put the hook part on. So look from the top, click the surface here of the ridge, create a new sketch. That looks like a planar sketch to me. Let's see, maybe the bottom one. Okay, I guess I gotta go from the bottom. So what we can do is we can create a slot here, go out, escape. Let's see, what was the radius of the original? The original one here is 22.6 diameter, so we want the radius to be 11.3. Okay, and I'm going to pin this to the axis, and we can just delete the inner one and create a line between them. Make sure that they're, oops, nope. Gotta make sure that those are connected. Then we can create a circle here. And let's see what the radius of the original hole was. 9.6, so 4.8. And we'll close that, and then we can pad it, but we want to pad it in the reverse direction. And what did we say? 2.2, I believe. 2.2. Say OK. And now we have our little tab. If you wanted, you could fillet it, but I think I'll leave it just as it is. If you wanted to, you could create the ridge. There's like a ridge around it too. The way I would do that is go back into the sketch, copy that sketch, say no, paste the sketch, make it visible again, double click the sketch, remove the circle, unless you want to make a ridge around the circle. If you want to make a ridge around the circle, you can leave it there, I guess. The original only has a ridge around the outside. Now with this one, I'm going to take this, bring it so it's just touching the edge here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to bring another slot. It's about a millimeter in from the old one. What you can do is you can set it by using this number here. got your 11.3, so if I set this one to 10.3. And make sure that those are all on the same spot. Delete that. And you're going to want to probably, I don't know why this one looks like it's not straight, but I want to go in here. Make sure that those are connected. I don't know why it looks like I'm hitting it and then it's not doing it. See what I mean? Okay, just make sure you get it connected. Otherwise this won't work. Okay. And I'm going to close that. And I'm going to pad that one. Reversed. And I say 4. Say okay. No, 4 may have been a little too tall. I probably should have gone all the way into the... Okay, I see what I did. Instead of there, go all the way into this one. So it goes all the way into the main funnel part. I'm going to click edges on that, and I will fillet those, but not very much. 0.5. 0.25. There we go. What you can do is you can keep adjusting this until I don't think it took that last one. Let's see what 0.4 does. Well, it's still there, so let's go with that one just to see. But yeah, you just keep adjusting that. What happens is if they come together, then it errs, it disappears. It's too big of a fillet. We could fillet the whole if we wanted. Now, did you notice that now we have two separate things? Not exactly sure why, but we do. So, in order to make sure that we're not having errors and stuff, we'll have to select both objects. Now, what it could be is that one object is just... Okay, so there's that one, there's that one. So somehow I got them separated. Don't ask me how. But if you fuse them together, and it actually does it okay, then you shouldn't have a problem. You should be able to print that. So, file, save, I'm just going to call it funnel. File, export, funnel. And we can close that one, start a new document. The last one here is going to be a little more tricky as far as how to make all these holes when we get it going. But first I'm going to start off by just back over into part design, XZ, okay. And what I'm going to start off with is just creating a sketch that goes come on. Now I'm probably going to end up making this thicker than it actually is. I think I'll try. It says it's 1 millimeter. I think I'll try 1.5. Sometimes thicker is better when it comes to actually creating something that's. I want to make sure that it's pinned to the center. And 1 point. Actually, I'll go around number 1.6. Okay, and make sure that this one's pinned to this. And then it's 41 millimeter. So that's 20.5. Oops, wrong one. And then out to the outer edge of the this 49. So maybe 24.5. tall is this? I think I've got it way taller than it actually is. It's 14 millimeter tall. So many dimensions to that. Okay. Now the tricky part is how this curves up slightly. So we're going to need I'm going to make a small line out here. I'm going to set that one to the 1 point. I'm going to go a little bigger. I'm going to go 1.8. And then I need it to be .2 diameter, so 35.1 millimeters away from the center. Now the question is how high? I gotta slant up about 5 millimeters. So this to here, I'm gonna go 5 millimeters. And that looks a little too more. Let's go 4.5. 4. Yeah, that looks better. The problem is trying to measure some of the flexes while you're trying to measure it. Kind of not easy. I'm thinking I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to probably want to go up higher. Now these, I can make these parallel. Maybe. Yeah, that looks better. Looks thicker, but it looks better. And I'm going to use the 3.1 again like we did before. Now, gotta make sure that those are connected. And I'm going to close that and do it all. Say OK. So we've got the basic cup sort of shape. I'm going to fillet this edge if I can. Like I said, if I can. Okay, so like that one. What about 5? really sharp corner. And now, supposedly, you're supposed to only do the fillets after you've done all your cuts, etc. So, sorry, I was pressing the Alt, not the Control. Say okay. That makes it a little better. Now, I'm trying to think the best way to create this polar pattern that they're using here to cut all the holes for the drain part. It may be better to create a single shape. Actually, let's see. We could use a series of cylinders that then had pieces sliced out of it using the same array pattern. That's what I would do. So first off, I'm going to switch this back to a top view. I'm going to go to part. I'm going to create a cylinder. Now, 20. That way it should come all the way up. So I'm going to go 25 with that one. And then that's 9. This represents the piece that's supposed to stay there right now in this pattern in the middle. So then the next one was 14.4, 7.2. I'm going to make this one back down to 20. That way I know I can separate out which is which. And 7.2. I'm just copying and pasting. So this is the tricky part. The next circle is 15.4. I'm going to cheat and use my calculator. Just copy and paste that. So the tricky part is, okay, you have certain distances that need to remain where they're at. These rings. So let's see, the next one was 24, so 12. And then copy that one. And the next was 6.4, 15.2. And then the next one out from that, 33.8. this one minus this one. This one minus this one. Right. Huh. Am I getting the right rings? It doesn't look right. This one should have this one subtracted. Then a seam cut should have this one should subtract this one. This one should subtract this one. This one should subtract this one. Seven. Sorry, this is where it gets confusing. Number 9 log should have number 8 subtracted. But then it looks like there's a bigger one. So actually, 9 should be subtracted this one. Okay. Let's look at this. Okay, so do you kind of understand what I just did there? I made the rings that will be cutting, but we still need to cut out a polar pattern out of this, and we'll probably need 2 of those patterns. I'll explain that why later in just a bit, but for right now I'll try to create just that pattern. Now what we can do is we can take all these, so I didn't do that, click it, shift click, and we can fuse those together. That makes that all one part. Then we can go over to, let's go to, I'm going to use a sketch. Let's go back to part design, and XY plane, and I'm going to create a sketch. Now here's the trick part. I need to go, I can leave that there, but I need the flag on so I can see what I'm doing. Click on that, click here, go up a little, go back over here, click the middle, escape, make sure that they're all is we'll measure how wide the outside they're different. Okay. That means I need two different patterns. I don't want to do two different patterns right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make that 4 millimeters. And I'm going to bring this in closer. Actually, what I should do is I should move this and make it there. That'll give me a better polar pattern. Okay, I'll close that. I'm going to pad that, and I'm going to make it 25. Say okay. Then we're going to go over to draft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually copy that pad and paste it. And I'll say yes, Control B, and I'll make that hidden. What it is I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to come back to that one in a bit, because we're going to need it to create the holes for the side, the angled part of it. See, we kind of skipped that. That's what the big, huge opening space here is. So we're going to come back and use that. Okay, so I just created an array. Actually, I went ahead and created an array out of the pad. We're going to make this poorer. And I don't know how many. Whatever looks good. We'll go 40 for right now. No, that's a little too much, I think. 30? About 26. That looks good, I think. There. That makes the holes a bit bigger. 22 is what I went with. So we'll do the same thing to the other pad. Create an array. Polar. 22. Go to part. And take the fusion. Select the array. Cut. this may take a while. I'm gonna pause. Okay, we're back. Okay. So now we have what will create the other pattern. I'm going to hide that for the moment, bring the fillet back, and bring up the other array. And now what we have to determine is how tall the pad really should have been. First off, I'm going to move the sketch up. I'm going to say 4. This is kind of tricky. I'll take the pad, change it to 8. Maybe 9. Oops. Although, I should have stuck with 8 probably. I'm gonna stick with 8. It's, unless I take this and go, let's see, 50. I'm going to take this array and go to different colors. It's kind of hard to see. Can you tell the difference? Okay. So if you're looking at the side, and I probably still need to go up a little more. Up and then make it smaller. Or I can go in and change the sketch. I'll probably change the sketch. Because right now, with the way it is, it's going to cut off pieces of the edge of the outside rim. So I don't want it to do that. I just want it to cut this surface in here. So go in here, select this, move it in closer to the edge. So then it won't be cutting the just cut that part. Actually, I could probably come down a little. Sketch. And go back up a little more with the pad. Alright, so that looks good. So if you have that one and then you have the other cut that we brought, you can kind of get the idea of how, when we make the cuts, it's going to look, sort of. Now, actually, you see how they are offset? It's because this matches what I cut out of the original. So I might want to take the this array, go in and change the angle so that it matches up with, so the holes are still matching up with the other cut parts. You see how that works? Okay, I hope so, because this way the holes match with the holes that I'm going to make with the other array. And I'm going to take and go with the fillet, select the smaller array and cut it first. This may take a while, so I'm going to pause. Alright, it did it. So now we take this one and cut the other one out. Like I said, might take a while, so I'll pause. Alright, it made the cut. So there's our drain. I'm gonna go back to draft and get rid of the that's our drain cap. Actually pretty awesome looking to me, but that's my opinion. File, save. I'll call it a drain filter. File, export. Drain filter, save. Alright, and that was the last project. What we're going to do is go ahead and check them all in NetFab. I always do this. Before I try to 3D print anything, I check, make sure it works in this. Now sometimes this won't fix all files. I mean, so far you see me do it, but I have come across some things that I've tried to design that this won't do it. If this doesn't, then I usually use the online version that's part of Microsoft's print check. And then if that won't fix it, well, you're pretty much SOL. If that's not going to fix it, there's probably not much that's going to fix it. You have to start tweaking the design more. Okay. So drain filter is the first one. Let's see, it has a problem. Hit repair. Automatic repair. Oops, sorry. Execute. Apply part repair. Remove part. There. That one's good. So we'll export that out. Save. Optimize. Export. Part. Remove. Yes. Part. Add. Flashlight or reflector. That one says it's okay, so we can just remove it. Part, add. Funnel. That one says it's okay, so part, remove. Part, add. Shot glass. That one looks okay. You could call it a waste basket, a miniature waste basket too, I guess. Part, remove. part, add tumbler. That one seems to be okay. So part remove. I hope this helps some of you in understanding how to do the rotation tool and how to create the array to do something like what we just did. I mean, this little piece, it looks really simple for the drain filter, but you saw how complicated it was just for me to design that. It's not that bad. I mean, you just have to think about how to make the holes. That's what I was doing when I was making all the little cylinders. I was trying to figure out where the spaces should be and how to design it so that I could also cut the side holes too with that array and make it look good. Thank you for watching and hope you have a great 3D print. Bye.